So Ezreal is a very misunderstood champion in my opinion. He is mostly played with either Conqueror or Press the Attack or with First Strike, but actually I will argue that Lethal Tempo is one of the, if not the best Keystone for Ezreal, and here's why. So Ezreal players have this tendency to overemphasize and overvalue Ezreal's Q and to disregard his auto attacks. In lower elo brackets, even sometimes to the point where people don't auto attack at all and think Ezreal is just a Q bot. And this playstyle can work to some degree, but there are problems with it. So the first big problem is that Q is a skill shot, therefore you need to be actually good to land it, and you need to hope that the enemy is not in a position where they can just let others body block for them, or where they can outplay you with their mobility spells and everything. So it's highly inconsistent, which also leads to Ezreal's shaky win rates, I would assume at least. But with auto attacks, all these problems do no longer exist. So, of course, you still use Q a lot, but by weaving in auto attacks, by relying more on auto attacks, you can solve so many of these problems. So Ezreal's passive actually encourages you to auto-attack. You get up to 50% bonus attack speed, 50%, which is just crazy. You can just sustain it throughout the entire fight by just hitting someone or something with your Q spell over and over while auto-attacking in between. So Ezreal can stack his passive in lane, even in lane. He can stack his passive, can stack Lethal Tempo, he can brawl extremely hard with the enemy laners, and with other Keystones you can't really do that as effectively, because attack speed is very important in early fights, but why stop there? Ezreal can work with on-hit items just fine, because Q applies on-hit effects, your Q won't even be weaker. You'll have a little bit less ability haste, but your Q will just hit just as hard, your auto attacks will hit even harder. Even with extended range, you can stack Lethal Tempo in combination with your passive. You stack both at the same time by hitting your Qs. And, I mean, okay, here's the build I came up with. So we start with a very regular Ezreal build. We go Triforce into Manamune, starting with a tier first item, so tier into Triforce into Manamune, and of course cooldown reduction boots, but then normal Ezreal builds go for more ability haste to emphasize Q spam and whatnot, and maybe like Frozen Hearts to get more value out of Mirror Mana. But again, all the consistency issues I've just described tell you that this is not, I mean, even in high elo, you could assume if you're a good player, you just land your Qs and you're fine, which is true to some degree, but you're also playing against good players who know how to play around your Q. So we just go into on-hit items. We go for Blade of the Ruined King next, which is a very great item on Ezreal, also historically speaking. There are seasons in which Ezreal had this as a core item, and it's still very strong. Attack speed helps you ramp your passive, helps you ramp your Keystone, and in combination with your passive you get a lot of value out of the on-hit effect, and of course the on-hit effect applies on your Q, so it's just huge damage, plus you get more lifesteal, which helps you stay in fights for longer to get maximum value out of your passive and out of Lethal Tempo. And for the next item we just go for more on-hits. We go for Wit's End as a fourth item. I mean, the on-hit damage scales with level, so as a fourth item you will have already scaled it up to like 60 to 70 to 80 damage per hit, and you also still get 40 attack damage and attack speed and magic resist. It's just a perfect item and nobody buys it, I'm not sure why. So these are the 4 items plus boots that you can buy in pretty much every game, in my opinion. For the last item you have a couple of options. In most games it doesn't matter because they end earlier, but you have options. You can go for more lifesteal with Ravenous Hydra and more ability haste, like more classical Ezreal items, Ravenous Hydra, or even Armor Pen with Black Cleaver and Serilda's Grudge. But you could also just go Rage Blade. Rage Blade adds another 40 damage on your Q, because Q applies on-hit effects, and Rage Blade has 40 on-hit damage in and of itself due to its crit chance. But you also get a bunch of attack speed, and you amplify all 3 on-hits effects in your kit, because keep in mind, not only is Blade of the Ruined King and Wit's End an on-hit effect, but Mirror Mana is an on-hit effect on your auto attack as well, and Rage Blade amplifies all of that. Plus it all works perfectly with Triforce, keeping you in fights for longer, getting maximum value out of everything you have. And the rune page, I mean, I've already talked about it. The Keystone is the only thing that really stands out here. We go for Lethal Tempo, and then still the standard runes of Presence of Mind, so you never run out of mana, plus Legend Bloodline, so you have some lifesteal in addition to Blade of the Ruined King. I mean, most Ezreal players go for these minor runes because they provide so much value. And then for secondary, of course, we have free boots and more mana for the lane phase. But yeah, that's my lethal tempo Ezreal build theory craft. Let's jump into a game and see how the build does. Okay, yeah, Tristana and Senna. Not the most synergistic duo, if you ask me. But, well, still need to be respected. Just gotta keep stacking the tier. It would be very nice if you could prevent them from getting the level 2 power spike before we do. There's a Tristana at the end of the day. Alright, Maokai is on the same page, it seems. Huh. Okay, here we go. Not much to worry about. Tristana level 2 is like the scariest part of the lane. If you can deny that, you're probably doing quite well. Yeah, so we just stack our farm and our tier. Okay, almost did it too early. I try to hit Senna with that. Okay. Pushing against Tristana is always good, but Ezreal can't really push, so there's that. You know, Tristana, if she is forced to farm on the tower, she cannot get all the minions because of her E. But, I mean, Ezreal has no wave clear in the early game, so... You know, gotta work with what we have. As long as I'm hitting my farm, I'm fine too. We scale so well with this build. Yeah, on my way. Promising. I mean, I could back off to not give her the reset, but then she gets out anyway. So might as well deal more damage while we can. Outplayed. Nice! Yeah, and already we're reaping huge benefits from our Keystone. That was very crucial in this fight. Wave's screwed, but we can't really stay. It's too risky if Zax's there, we have no health. And Tristana can't freeze the wave anyway, so it's not really a concern against her. Yeah, like the components. That was actually a huge fight in the river. Need to respect boots, it's a good power spike for Trist. But, I mean, we obviously have item advantage, so not too worried. Ruined that minion for no reason. Now with attack speed we can actually push a little bit. I keep ruining my minions over nothing. Losing my passive stacks, so I don't want to all in anymore. Gotta stack it back up. Yeah, good damage. Again, whenever you have your passive stacked, it's so good to trade with Ezreal. 50% attack speed is nothing to scoff at. We should get Drake. Nice, alright. Zac is here, so I need to respect. Potentially even let Tristana push a little. Got ultimates. Nice. Yeah, that lethal tempo does so much. It's incredible. And if you have the perfect build to synergize with it in a late game too, who's gonna stop you really? Two platings should be okay. She can try and stop my base. She will pay a steep price. Yeah, she's not keen to fight me again. So I can base, get my Triforce. And get a long sword. Yeah, Triforce is better than sitting on components, finishing boots, of course. Which would be the alternative. It's a really strong item in Ezreal. It gives you everything you want. We're not gonna catch them anyway. They reacted too early. Alright. Yeah, at this point we're so far ahead we can pretty much get away with whatever. We see Zac, so we can continue. Enemy bot lane respawned, so we want to reset as well. Alright. Yeah, looking very strong. We should be able to finish this game before Pantheon falls off. But I mean, in the late game, they have Senna and Trist is not good in the mid game with most builds, but good in the late game. But Veigar is too good, I think. Veigar, I mean, Senna is also good in the late game, but Veigar and myself would probably scale too well for them to keep up. If we don't finish early anyway. Gotta take care, man. Oh, I'm dead. Or am I? The plays. I should get a plating as well. Looks pretty free. Nice, alright. 8 kills after 13 minutes, could be worse, right? Not overstaying though, it's way too risky. Let's just get this. Working towards Blade. Which is always nice. Alright. Now, most important mission, don't feed away my shutdown gold. That's important. Don't hit anyone. Okay, well he's so fat he can one-shot Senna. Yeah, she's super squishy lethal tempo. I'm pretty sure lethal tempo Senna can work, but not if you go domination secondary and don't rush shield bow. I mean, at this point her items don't matter because, you know, she doesn't have items anyway. She's too far behind. But yeah, bone plating overgrowth is super important if you want to make lethal tempo work. Push one more wave, get Manamune. Yeah, I can afford. It's 1050. By the time I'm base, I have the gold passively. Big power spike. I certainly take it. Maybe ult does. They're not cutting upwards. Would have been a double kill had I aimed this correctly, but getting gold for my team is also good. Spread out the item advantage. No reason to predict with Q if you can just auto. That's so nice about this build. You can just auto all the time. You can Q minions, right? Just keep your passive going. Well, yeah, keep it stacked. Alright, transformed Manamune too. There we go. Not the cleanest, but it works. Yeah, I should have predicted she would dodge one way. Or, I mean, it doesn't matter. Oh no! I broke the most important rule. I gave them a shutdown. So here we are now. I'm still worth 800 should they kill me again. It's so crazy. Oh well. But yeah, we're getting our third item now, whereas Tristana is sitting at 0. I guess that's a pretty sizable lead. $2k damage on Trinity, 550 on Mira Mana. Yeah, could be worse. Kill him. Or kill Senna, I don't know. Drake's on, but I can push mid lane, my team can get Drake. Actually, let me help. Okay. Yeah, we should push side lanes here. We get inhibitors, so pushing side lanes is free towers, free gold, free map pressure, whereas mid lane doesn't do much. Alright. Bro, what are you thinking? Yeah, okay, we get all their base here. GG. I mean, when you're that fed, obviously your other items don't even matter anymore, but I think I've explained the synergies. I mean, the synergies are quite obvious with on-hit, and on-hit works on Q, and lethal tempo, more attack speed, passive, more attack speed, and all that kind of stuff. But just the power of lethal tempo on Ezreal, it's actually quite wild, and I think, unironically, lethal tempo is the best keystone you can use on this champion. All that other stuff, I've tried it. I've tried First Strike, I've tried Conqueror. Lethal Tempo, nothing comes close. Lethal Tempo is just the way to go. But yeah, I mean, if you have suggestions for other stuff I should experiment with, then leave it in the comments. And for other experiments I already ran, click the link on your screen right there. A big thank you to all my Patreons and channel members. If you want to become a Patreon yourself, just go to patreon.com/mfdb. But if you rather save your money, you can support me for free by clicking the like and the subscribe button.